When I first moved to LA many moons ago, my best friend took me to Panda Express and introduced me to the famous orange chicken. I was so stunned that I looked at him and asked, "Why are you eating this?" He said, "If you look at it as Chinese food, it's an insult. But if you look at it as fast food, it's one of the best things you could have." And it couldn't be more right. So today, we're making the famous orange chicken from Panda Express my way. Let's do it. First, we make the batter. I mean, even if you just do this with 00 flour, it would work very well. But since we're doing some kind of Chinese food, let's do it the right way. So, here we have about 50 grams of cornstarch, about 15 grams of 00 flour. Always use high protein flour when you're deep frying. That would give you the most crispy crust without absorbing too much oil. And here, about 5 grams of baking soda. It's the holy trinity of Chinese deep frying. Since we don't get to use soy sauce later, I'm going to season the crust with a very generous amount of salt. We'll also season the chicken later, of course. We add just enough water for this to bind together. As long as you keep the ratios the same, you can adjust the quantity of the cornstarch, the flour, the baking soda accordingly to accommodate the volume that you're going to use. Now, once you see this consistency, another unique aspect of the Chinese crust, we're going to add about 40 grams of vegetable oil. And you work the oil in. What you want to achieve is this homogeneous texture where you cannot detect the oil anymore. We have here diced chicken thighs. We'll season with a generous amount of salt. I mean, realistically, at Panda Express, you're enjoying the crust and the sauce. But at home, you kind of want to feel the texture and taste the chicken. So I would keep them quite chunky. This looks quite big for bite size. Remember, this will shrink down once it hits the oil as well. So we mix. If you have time to marinate this 6 hours, ideally the night before, even better. Now, we add the chicken to our cornstarch mix and you work to coat. So, here we have some vegetable oil, and you want the vegetable oil to reach about 140 for the first round of frying. Whenever I know I'm cooking a sauce after something that I'm deep frying, I always like to have a wire rack ready and my oven set to the lowest setting, which is about 50 degrees Celsius, so that when I'm making the sauce, the dry heat from the oven would prevent the chicken from steaming itself. And chicken goes in. Very gentle heat. And the bubbles you're seeing, that's the hot oil, removing the moisture and the liquid from within the chicken. That's almost the perfect batter to chicken ratio, huh? So I wouldn't move them too much in the very beginning, just to give them time to set. As you can see, once you've added the cold chicken, the oil temperature drops down dramatically. We're now at 120. Perfect. Now, once the batter has set, we take out the chicken, set the chicken aside, and we allow the oil to come back to temperature, to 180. We go for round 2. And we move them around a tiny bit, just so that they don't stick to each other. We're already getting the wonderful golden brown colors. Now, they come out once more. We once again bring the oil back to 180 for the final round. And the light batter really has done its magic. As you can see, the thin layer of coating, just giving it a bit of the golden brown color, but not covering the chicken completely. Perfect, and that's it. Stove off. We take the chicken out for the third time. We set our beautiful chicken, beautiful crunchy chicken, on the wire rack. Now this goes into 50 degrees Celsius oven to keep dry and crispy while we make our sauce. Now, to put the orange in orange chicken, it's very simple. All we need are 2 ingredients. A dessert white wine. Today we're using Sauternes, but you can use any sweet white wine. Gewürztraminer, Riesling. Just don't use a port, otherwise you're making bloody chicken. And store-bought orange juice. If you live in a jurisdiction where the sun actually comes out, feel free to make fresh orange juice. I don't. So, all we're gonna do is we're gonna reduce the Sauternes into a glaze to give us texture and sweetness, and we add the orange juice to give us the acidity and the taste of orange. Hot wok, and we add about 200 ml of Sauternes. There are many ways to thicken a sauce. Of course, in classic French cooking, you have the roux. And in traditional Chinese cooking, whenever they're making something sweet and sour, they would make something akin to caramel by stir-frying sugar in hot oil. At home, you can reduce any sweet wine, even Japanese mirin, into a glaze, and that will do the job. If you're just making a Sauternes sauce, you should add the Sauternes in stages to retain some freshness. But today, because we're using the orange juice, you can just put everything in one go. Now, you can almost smell the caramel. That's when you know we're getting closer and closer. At this point, it's like making a dark roux. You want to stir quite vigorously so that the sugar content is not burned. And that's it. We add half of our orange juice. And we add the remainder so that it retains more acidity. Alright, once you have reached this wonderful caramel texture, chicken goes in, straight from the oven. Nothing goes to waste. And we add just a tiny bit of oil. And you cook. And you can see the sauce immediately disappeared. That's perfect. Stove off, and we can plate. Look at this beautiful glaze. If you think about it, all those Sauternes, all those orange juice, they have disappeared, clinging onto this wonderful thin batter that we made. I'm taking a page from my good friend Alessandro from Duke's. Take an orange peel just to release some essential oil, skin side facing the chicken. And there you have it, orange chicken my way. I really hope you enjoy. It's wonderful though, honestly, no joke.